today's video we're talking about the Pixel phones and of course the Galaxy Note 8. Now I've been saying the Galaxy Note 8 is the phone of the year, but where it gets confusing for people is when they purchase a phone like the Pixel phone, they don't always necessarily think that the phone has the best design, and I'm talking about the way the phone looks. And that's the way I look at the Pixel phones. It's no offense to Google or even HTC, but when we compare how these companies are manufacturing phones, Samsung is that impressive. And when I talk about Samsung, even the Galaxy S8 and S8 Plus, and yes, there's an additional button to that phone where you can't remap it right now. Samsung doesn't allow that, which they should. When we're talking about experiences, TouchWiz on one of those phones is amazing. But is it the best experience? I would say the stock version of Android is the best experience, and that's why I'd root a Galaxy phone. But when we're talking about the Galaxy Note 8, I think it's going to have the best hardware out of all the phones, and that's even compared to Apple. No offense to Apple either, but I am not a fan of iOS. But as far as Android devices, the Pixel phones versus the Galaxy Note 8, I'm going to say the Galaxy Note 8 is the better phone, but that's not saying that Google can't manufacture a phone that would look fantastic. I'm just going by how Google has manufactured their phones before. It's not necessarily the best choice to select HTC when you have other manufacturers out there manufacturing their phones a lot better than them. No offense to HTC again, but if Google wants to have the best phone on the market, you have to pick one of those companies out there that's really manufacturing phones with the best quality. And again, we have to select some companies that have the best experience. Samsung is one of them. If not the best, you have to say Samsung's one of the best out there that manufactures phones consistently. For the most part, Samsung is really impressive with the way they manufacture phones. There's no question about that. When you look at the screen technology, I continue to talk about that as well because that makes their phones stand out a lot. Their cameras are some of the best out there. You know, the situation with Google and the Pixel phones. When I purchased that Nexus 6 from Motorola, it looked fantastic to me, and at the time, it was one of the best phones out there. Now we're talking about the newer phones that are out. The Galaxy phones look fantastic. Actually, the Galaxy phones look like the best phones available right now until we get the Galaxy Note 8 because Samsung hasn't manufactured it yet. And I know that would sound interesting to people because when they see what Apple does with the iPhone, there's not necessarily that many changes to the iPhone. Occasionally, Apple's going to innovate with the way the iPhone looks. But when you compare those phones to even the Pixel phones, Google designed the Pixel phones with HTC to sort of resemble with what the iPhone kind of looks like. So again, this is kind of interesting that Google goes about it in this way. I would say rather than focus on the iPhone, look to see what Samsung is doing because Samsung is not trying to get ideas from Apple. Obviously, the VR experience, we're talking about even the Samsung Assistant, even the way the phones are designed with the screen technology, I mean, these are features that are a lot different than an iPhone. And for the fact that you have a phone that has NFC. I mean, by now, Apple should have NFC. I talked about that in the previous video, but really, Apple should have NFC on the iPhone. When I compare the Pixel phones to the Galaxy phones are the most impressive to me because they have the most innovative design. But at this point in time, with what I've seen Google manufacture with their Pixel phones and even with the Nexus phones, I think they have to work on the way the phones are designed. If you tell me that you're using a stock version of Android and the phone is not that impressive with the way it looks, I think it's an issue. And with the Pixel phones, I'm not saying they look awful, I just wouldn't say they're the best designed phone. Actually, I would even say at this point in time, LG has manufactured phones that look better than the Pixel phones. And that's just my personal opinion, of course, but when I compare all the phones out there, I would really like to see Google manufacture a phone like that has a stock version of Android because it's better for Android, and it's actually better for Android fans out there that you're getting the best designed phone and also the best experience on the phone. Now, when I look at Samsung, at one point in time, you could purchase a Samsung phone with stock version of Android, but then after that, you don't see Samsung really talking about the stock version of Android because they want people to use TouchWiz, get the Samsung experience, buy other Samsung products, and integrate them all together, just like Apple. So we get that. Even Huawei is trying to do that also. And I'm not laughing at Huawei for trying to do that. It's just that you have EMUI and it's a variation of Android, but I know a lot more Android fans would probably prefer the stock version of Android from you guys, but you guys also know that people could just root their phone. So if they like the way the phone looks, you root the phone. And that's what I was saying about the Galaxy S8 and S8 Plus. If you really like that phone, but you're a fan of the stock version of Android, root the phone. And I'm sure people are gonna figure out how to remap that button, if not already. And we're talking about Samsung and the way they update that phone. I really think they should update that phone where people could just remap the button themselves without having to root the phone, because not everyone out there really wants to root their phone. In fact, if you watch some of the videos where I talk about rooting your phone, or even how I had to fix my phone, rooting my phone, Not everyone wants to do that out there because they could brick their phone and not be able to get another phone for a while or whatever. A lot of people don't want to root their phone out there. Other people that are really familiar with Android and want to root their phone, such as myself, I have no issue. If I have to fix my phone, I'm going to root my phone. If I purchase a phone that doesn't have the version of Android that I want to use, I am rooting that phone. But if you look at Android itself and you compare these phones and the Pixel phones versus the Galaxy phones, it is tough for people to make a choice because you see the stock version of Android and it's from Google and you want to get that Google phone, it's a good option. But then when you look at the Galaxy phones and you see the Galaxy S8 and S8 Plus, those are fantastic phones also. So if I compare the Pixel phones to the Galaxy phones, I think the better option is with the Pixel phones if you're a fan of stock version of Android and the design of the phone is not that important to you. But if you are a fan of the experience and also the best technology out there, I'm saying to look at the Galaxy phones. I know what people are going to say, hey, if I don't like the way the Galaxy phones look, what does it matter to me? I could just pick another phone. That is true. A lot of people out there are picking LG, even HTC. And yes, HTC is out there manufacturing Android devices, but they are having a lot of issues doing that because people are not fans with the way they create phones. This is just the way it is. If you look at Samsung, LG, Huawei, and even you're going to include Nokia, and I am going to be talking about that in another video, Nokia is going to be manufacturing an Android phone with the stock version of Android. So it does get interesting. And by the way, it's going to be sold in the US. So this is something that's going to evolve into a lot more competition where you have phones with the stock version of Android. Google is going to have to figure out their manufacturing to manufacture their phones a lot better. And then you're talking about Samsung with all the features they have with their phones, because Samsung has that VR experience. Then you're talking about the experience with the screen technology, the edges to the phone, almost no bezel to the phone. Even with TouchWiz, you're getting a great phone. With a Samsung phone, Galaxy phones, they're awesome. You're talking about the Galaxy Note 8, it's going to be fantastic. That's what I'm saying. But I would like to know what you guys think about all of this. Post your comments down below. If you're a fan of Android, let me know if you would select a Pixel phone or even the Galaxy phones. And of course, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I'll see you guys next video. Peace out.